who was the American president who led the nation into World War I, and then tried to reshape the very foundations of global peace. Let's dive into the complex legacy of Woodrow Wilson. When World War I erupted across Europe in 1914, President Woodrow Wilson's stance was firm. America would remain neutral. This policy was so popular that it became the cornerstone of his 1916 re-election campaign. With a powerful slogan, "He kept us out of war." For nearly 3 years, the United States watched the devastating conflict from the sidelines, navigating a treacherous diplomatic landscape. But the tides of war were relentless. By early 1917, Germany's policy of unrestricted submarine warfare, which saw American ships sunk without warning, had pushed tensions to a breaking point. The final straw was the Zimmermann telegram, a secret German proposal to Mexico, promising to help it reclaim territory from the U.S. if it joined the war on Germany's side. Outraged, Wilson went before Congress, and on April 6, 1917, the United States officially declared war on Germany. Wilson's administration moved with incredible speed to mobilize the nation. The Selective Service Act initiated a draft, swelling the Army's ranks. The War Industries Board was created to coordinate production and streamline the economy for the war effort. Soon, the American Expeditionary Forces, commanded by General John J. Pershing, were on their way to the battlefields of France, ready to tip the balance of the war. Back home, the Wilson administration launched an unprecedented propaganda campaign through the Committee on Public Information to build and maintain public support for the war. However, this period also saw the passage of the controversial Espionage Act of 1917 and the Sedition Act of 1988. These laws severely restricted free speech, making it a crime to criticize the government or the war effort, a move that remains a contentious part of Wilson's legacy. As the war neared its end, Wilson turned his focus to the peace that would follow. In a landmark speech in January 1918, he unveiled his 14 points. This visionary blueprint for a new world order called for open diplomacy, freedom of the seas, the right of nations to self-determination, and, most importantly, the creation of a League of Nations, an international body designed to prevent future wars. When the armistice was signed on November 11, 1918, Wilson himself traveled to Paris to lead the American peace delegation, a first for a sitting president. He fought tirelessly to embed his 14 points into the Treaty of Versailles. However, upon his return, he faced fierce opposition in the U.S. Senate, which ultimately refused to ratify the treaty or join the League of Nations, ironically isolating the very country whose leader had championed its creation. Woodrow Wilson as presidency was a study in contrasts, a leader who campaigned on peace but led his nation into war, a champion of democracy abroad who curtailed civil liberties at home. He was a visionary idealist whose grand plan for global cooperation was ultimately rejected by his own people. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into history, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more content that connects the past to the present. See you next time.